Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a VR to the wonderful Thea over at Garden Goddess Tarot and to Meg over at Rose Honey Ritual. Now this is a tag that I've really loved watching everybody's responses to. At first I thought I couldn't take part because it's the tag only 10 indie decks, so your top 10 indie decks if you could only be left with 10, and I actually didn't think I'd got 10 indie decks, and then I looked around and counted them up, and oh boy, I have so many more than 10. So there you go. It just goes to show how sometimes we lose track of what's in our collection. So this was actually quite difficult. When I actually sat down and got everything out and looked at it, oh my gosh, it really was tricky. But still, I want to take part. In fact, I might do what Thea did. I might do more than one video, because I could easily have made this video with another set of 10 and it still be accurate, and another set of 10 and still be accurate. But anyway, let's go with the first 10 that I picked. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. First time I'm going to cheat. Of course I'm going to cheat because it's impossible. I'm going to cheat first of all with this deck, Tarot as Colour, and I just don't know how to say this. Ethel Cocoon, is it? I'm not sure. Anyway, this, oh my gosh, this deck is incredible. But I'm putting this with another indie oracle. I've been using this through last month and this month. I can't put it away. It's just amazing, this Tarot as Colour. I love it so much. It's such a special deck, but I've paired it, and it's paired so beautifully with our very own Mags's Tree Whisper Oracle. Now this is the first edition, which I think may be being reprinted. Not the first edition, it's the first version. She does have a summer and spring Tree Whisper Oracle. I think it's the Secret Garden one, which I don't have. I only have this one, which is more set in winter. In fact, if you want to see the other oracle, Una's just put a video up, first one in a long time, and she shares the other one, which I loved seeing, so I'll leave a link to that below. But these two, I mean, immediately you can see, look at this little blue circle here and this here. These two, I started working together, and I just am loving them paired together. Look, the Empress with inspiration. Not only the imagery together, but also the keywords and the way that they all read together. It's just been really special. I've had some really special moments with these two decks, and I almost feel like immediately they have become a bonded pair, which means that I can't have one in without the other, which is why I'm cheating a little bit. I am putting these two in as one deck. Yeah, I know I'm cheating. Let's just say it for what it is. That's cheating. But look at them. I absolutely love them. I mean, this shape here with this shape at the bottom here, love it, love it, love it. And the Wheel of Fortune with awareness, peace, and the Two of Cups, just incredible. Look at this shape here, almost mirrors the shape of this tree spirit in here. So yeah, these two decks, I mean, I just can't say enough really about both of them. This the Tarot as Colour, which is new to me, it was gifted to me by the lovely Meg, and it was just such a wondrous surprise, and it's not been put away since it arrived. It's wonderful. I'm doing my deck and walk with it, like I said, and I'm loving it. But there's something very sort of naturey about Tarot as Colour, which I think just lends itself to pairing, if you're going to pair it with either like a tree oracle or a plant oracle. I've got a few that I intended to trial this deck with, a few other sort of nature-based oracles, but so far I just can't get away from this pairing. So I just really wanted to share it because I love it. So although that is really two decks, I'm going to put that in as my first bonded pair. The next deck that I'm putting in is this one, the Stretch Tarot. Now this is the deck that came with me to Margaret's house, and probably the deck that I've had just the most amazing readings with. There is something about working with this deck that just feels like pure magic for me. And I think that reading I did sat in at Margaret's bedroom window, it just solidified for me just how deeply magical this deck feels. It felt like that even before I started using it. When I very first opened the box and looked at the cards, it kind of had that, it just had an energy about it. And it's a deck that it was in my top 10 decks of the year even before I'd even started working with it properly, which I know sounds really odd, but every time I pick it up it's truly magical, and I just can't imagine being without it. This would be definitely one of 5 decks that I would pick up and run with if I had to. I just could never leave this one behind. This card, it will be forever so special. So this one was a no-brainer for me. This is the Stretch Tarot, absolutely one of my top 10 without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, deck number 3 in my top 10, or deck number 4 if you're not counting the cheat, is this one, the Tarot Avatara by Gabby Angus West. Let's put it the right way up. Oh gosh, this deck, a ribbon around a bombshell. Now this ties into my absolute love of Frida Kahlo, her art, her life story, the energy of the woman that she was. It ties in with the fact that I always feel like I've had a walk with Frida. I always just feel like there have been synchronicities. And so when I saw this deck, I mean, it was totally out of my price budget, and my gorgeous friend Shannon, she gifted it to me, which I just couldn't believe. And I am so grateful, because I cannot even begin to say how I think I would have forever mourned this deck not being in my collection. And it's just wonderful. It is full of emotion. It is full of the essence of Frida. The guidebook has imagined diary entries, so you almost feel like you're really deeply in conversation with Frida, which is just wonderful. And I think the deck just manages to capture in a really beautiful way all of the tragedy and the heartache and the emotion and the ecstatic creativity and the up and down roller coaster of the woman that Frida was and still is as an icon. So this keys into an awful lot for me. It keys into heartache, it keys into celebration, it keys into creativity for me, and it keys into all those synchronicitous paths that I feel I have with Frida. So yeah, I love it. This deck had to be in that top 10. Okay, deck number 4 is this one, the She of Insight Oracle, which has other cards in here at the minute because I only got back from the caravan yesterday and I am currently working with this oracle. So we've got an oracle coming in at number 4. Now this is by the amazing Renee over at Meadowlark Mystic. This is a collage deck of channeled sort of goddess energy. Last night before I went to bed I did a reading with this. This is currently the card that I've got out for the week, She of the Spotlight. My reading last night, the other cards are still in here. These are flower cards that I have because I wanted to take a picture of the spread I pulled. And I had no energy to even take a photograph before I went to bed. So that's the spread I pulled last night. Again, this is a deck that works beautifully, I am finding, with flower decks. It's just wonderful. Also, I'm working with this deck this month with the Hanson Roberts. Oh my gosh, it is so good with the Hanson Roberts. So these are the collaged backs. And this deck, oh my gosh, this deck is just so wonderful. It's also full of friendship and memory for me because me and Renee are friends and we do speak a lot behind the scenes. We FaceTime each other regularly, and I watched this deck being created and it was just a privilege and an honour. Oh, I love Glynis, I love it. And these characters and these voices in this deck that came to Renee, it was the most magical thing to watch. If anybody doesn't believe in channeled artwork, I wish you could have been a fly on the wall to see these voices coming in and one voice interacting with another and then pushing the artwork somewhere different. It was astounding. And when I use this deck, I can feel that kind of magic within the cards, and I love it for that. It's got a really light, beautiful, airy feeling as well, which I think is why the flowers are working so well with it. Even though it actually doesn't pull any punches, it really doesn't pull any punches with its messages, and it gives you like journaling prompts to consider as well. It's still, you know, it will take you to darker places, but it does it in just the most beautiful sort of light way, a way that you can kind of breathe. You don't get bogged down with it, and I love it for that. And I think again that's why pairing it with the Hanson Roberts is working so nicely, because Hanson Roberts as well has got this kind of light, airy feel where it will give you the tough messages, but in a way that you don't get clogged down by it. You can breathe. I hope this makes sense. I know what I mean because I know how I feel when I work with it. Even though the very first pull I ever did with these two decks together, I got the Devil card, but I actually knew I was going to get the Devil card before it jumped out of this deck. I know, I thought that's going to be the Devil card. I absolutely know it, and out popped the Devil card. Look at these amazing synchronicities. I love this so much. So although the Hanson Roberts isn't an indie deck, I just wanted to show you these two together because it's proving to be an absolute delight this month to work with these two together. Oh my gosh, isn't this gorgeous? It's available on Make Playing Cards. I know that Renee has, I think she's still got some decks on there. I'll put links below. I love it. It was an absolute privilege and an honour to watch it being created, and it's just proving an absolute delight to work with, whether that be, like I said, with decks like the Hanson Roberts, or with, you know, flower decks. It's just proving just to be so nice to put them together. Can you see it? So that is my indie deck number 4, the She of Insight Oracle. Okay, deck number 5, possibly another cheat. I really want to put another indie pairing in, because these two, since I got the Weavers, this has been used on my altar ever since I got it. This was actually the first indie deck I ever treated myself to. And then this year I also got Lucy's Tangled Muses Ritual Oracle. These two, oh my gosh, they work so nicely together. I can't ever imagine me taking either one of them now off my altar space. They are deeply earthy, deeply full of earth magic, and just wondrous decks. So I think, actually no, this isn't the last indie deck. I was going to say it's the first indie deck and the latest indie deck I bought myself, but no, I've just received yesterday another indie deck, so which isn't in these top 10 because I haven't worked with it. So you can see on the backs of Lucy's deck you've got the Ritual Oracle deck written. On the back of the Weaver's Oracle it's like a cloth. Now what do I use these two for? These are for sort of moon working practices. I pull a card every full moon, and that it just stays on my altar, and I do artwork from it. I do sort of astral projection meditations and path working, so it's kind of like a switch off and a disappearing into the cards to kind of enter the landscape of the weavers with all of these keywords and to fall into the story. The guidebook is very heavy with the story of these weavers and their cloth and their tribes and their landscapes, and there's just an awful lot when you put it all together to like set 10 minutes of music going and to just pathwork, to just go in, to have a conversation with the characters, or to be led by something else through the landscape, and to sit with them and find the message. I mean, this card, I think this card so far has been my most profound card that I've worked with in the Weavers. And this section here actually became a mouth and started moving on the card. It was like the most surreal, magical, incredible moment. But both of them are deeply embedded, I think, with earth magic and earth energy. I mean, Lucy's deck, she actually does nature contact printing, and she makes her paints from different earths and rocks, and yeah, so it's full of earth magic. And I just can't explain the experiences I have when I work with them, apart from using the word magic. And it's been really like, it's revealed secrets, it's revealed shadows, it's helped me integrate shadows. It's profoundly healing and just wonderful. So like I said, this was the first ever indie deck I ever treated myself to. Normally with me with indie decks, I save up through the year and I buy an indie deck for my birthday in November and an indie deck for Christmas in December. And I've also been gifted some, like you've already seen the Tarot's Colour and from Meg, and the Tarot Avatara was from Shannon. So I'm not somebody that like backs endless Kickstarters, although I would love to, but it's just really not doable. I mean, with the shipping now to the UK, oh my gosh, although this is both of these are UK based decks, I think I'm needing to look closer to home now. But for UK based decks that are just full of magic, these two I'm putting in as the next cheat bonded pair. Okay, the next deck, so deck number 6 is another oracle. So this is the Faceted Garden Oracle. It's a Claire Mac oracle, and I have to say, when I first opened this oracle deck, I cried because it is so beautiful. Oh, and it just makes me think of my garden. It makes me think of like being outside walking through the seasons. Makes me think about growing things and seeds and all the things that just feel magic, like the free things of nature that are more magical than anything you could ever buy in a shop. That's what this deck is. It's about the elemental wonders of nature and flowers and seeds and rocks and soil and building a garden. It's all of those things for me. It's like seaside walks and watching landscapes change and bodies of water and, you know, surprise gifts like hagstones and shells. All those moments that make my heart skip a beat. You know, like walking around somebody's garden or like visiting an open garden. It's all of those things. It's the wonders of nature all in a deck, and I love it. I love the keywords. I love the way this deck pairs with other decks. Whenever I pair this oracle with another deck, it just opens up the reading so much. You know, it absolutely pinpoints and clarifies, and just it brings magic. All of these decks, I mean, our decks bring magic, don't they? I think once you love a deck, and if you bond with a deck, you're in the realm of magic every time. So I'm going to say the word magic for all of these decks. But yeah, this deck really brings magic so beautifully, and it just, it's all the things I love. And like I say, it's one of the oracles that when I opened it up, I was so blown away by the beauty of it that, yeah, I just sat and cried. I've actually been in a cave like this. There was a cave like this in the Lake District that I went to with some friends. I'm going to put a picture in of us standing in the cave. So whenever I see this card, it just makes me think of standing in that cave. Yeah, so I love Claire Mack's decks. I know she's got a tarot as well, which I keep looking at. It just looks so wonderful. Yeah, so Claire Mack, the Faceted Garden, another one of my top 10 indies. Now, the next deck, Rumour is responsible over at Rumour Haven for this deck being in my possession. She amazingly gifted it to me after a trip to America, because she knew that with shipping and taxes to get it into the UK, it was ridiculously expensive. So she brought it back in her suitcase and gifted it to me, and I have loved it. Oh my gosh, I know that the Somnia Tarot, it can divide people. I kind of get that. I do get that. And it is dark, and there are shrouded heads in a lot of it. But oh my gosh, I've loved working with it. I worked with this almost solidly through January. And I think it's just amazing. It's really powerful. It's a really powerful deck. It reminds me very much of some of the starkness of the beaches in Wales and my time in the caravan. And it has been really eye-opening to work with, I have to say. Again, it's another one of those decks that for me has revealed secrets and things I just wasn't getting and couldn't quite understand. And I think for a healing journey, if you've come from a dark place and you know what this feels like, to stand on a hill with a mob coming for you, if you understand this, I think this deck will speak to you, and it does to me. I love it, and I am just so grateful, Rumour, for you doing that for me, because I love it. This is another one. I couldn't imagine a top 10 without the Somnia in it. I love the aces. Oh, love the aces in this deck. Yeah, I don't have many photography decks really. Not because I don't love them, because I do. I just don't have very many. So it was really nice as well that this is all photography. This was my stalker card in January, not just in this deck, but across all the decks I used. And I did intend to do a VR to Mistress Ray. Mistress Ray did the most amazing Seven of Swords video, which I'll link below. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It was so good. And I wanted to do a VR because I'd had the Seven of Swords stalk me all January, but I kind of seem to have lost the moment. Yeah, so the Somnia Tarot, just fantastic deck. We're up to number 8. Oh my gosh, this is where it starts to get so difficult. I still haven't really decided, and I'm at the point of filming because there are about like another 10 that all could take these slots. So what to do? Okay, this, I'll do the no-brainer one first, the one that I don't have to consider too hard about. The Iris Oracle. This is hard to get in the UK, but it came up secondhand on eBay by a UK seller, so I was so lucky to manage to nab a copy of this Iris Oracle, which I then nearly destroyed trying to mod. By mod I just mean colour the edges black. I still managed to nearly destroy it. So we had a bit of a time, me and this deck. But this deck is probably one of my most profound oracle decks for me, and it's a combination of the unusual keywords that just feel like somebody was a fly on the wall for my life. It is absolutely fantastic for me. This holds the space in my practice for recovering from family scapegoating. Look at this weight of truth, and you know, toxic family systems, being the black sheep of the family, being lied about, being gaslit, being triangulated, all of that sort of narcissistic abuse, family scapegoating, family estrangement. That's where this deck sits for me. And I think the cards, I mean, look at this, suppression of a star being by hands unworthy, and like smother, and spirits to guide you. This is a deck for walking through and out. It really is. And for learning how to let go of some of the most core wounds, I think, that you can get. Wounds given to you by people who should have been to the grave, have your back. You know, some of the biggest damage can be done by families, by people who are blood. And I think stepping away from family and finding a found family, it's a tough road to walk, and it's often a misunderstood road. You are often told, yeah, but you only get one mom, or, you know, it's family, blood is thicker than water. Especially if you're the one being lied about. You know, you can very easily go from victim to perpetrator in people's minds, and it's just very misunderstood. So to all you scapegoated people out there, I get it, and this deck is brilliant. It really has been one of my most useful decks for getting through and out. It really, really has. I mean, left out with the walls, it couldn't be much more clearer than that, could it? So there are loads of cards in the deck. It's beautiful. Don't let its kind of rainbow sort of childlike art style fool you. It is deep, deep, deep. It will get you to the places that you need to get to look at the things that you really don't want to look at, and to move through and out, and I love it for that. So that has had to be in my top 10. It's the Iris Oracle. Okay, so I have 2 more places left and about 20 decks vying for those places, so I'm just going to go for it. I am just going to grab one. This is the Tarot of the Crone. Now this is one that I first saw on, oh my gosh, I've completely blanked on where I saw it. I've completely blanked. Even the cards are beeping me for completely blanking. I'll put the name up on the screen here of the channel I saw it on, because my mind's just gone completely blank. And I fell in love with it immediately. It was out of print at the time, but this deck does occasionally get extra print runs. So I think I'd lusted after it for about 2 years, and then another print run was being done, and I jumped on it. This was, I think, my Christmas present 3 years ago possibly, and my deck went missing. It got completely lost in the ether, and I thought, well, that's it, I'm obviously not destined to own this deck. The people over at Arnell's Art are just wonderful. They sorted it for me. Another deck was found and put in the post. That one arrived without any problems whatsoever, and I still don't think the first one ever turned up anywhere, which was such a shame. What a crying shame. But it was a relief, shall we say it was a relief, when this deck finally arrived, and I love it. It feels very female centric. And look at the imagery. I mean, how powerful is this imagery? Oh, look at this. Incredible. So your backs are just plain black, which again just fits with the whole vibe of the deck. It is powerful as anything. It's very clear to read with. It packs a right old punch as well, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. So Tarot of the Crone, with its title, of course, it's full of crone energy, and it's something else. It really is. It's an absolute brilliant deck. Okay, the last one for slot number 10. I've got to do it. I've got to put in the Reclaim Oracle, which is my emotion wheel in a deck. Again, just like the Iris, gosh, this has got me out of some emotional shadows. It really has. It's absolutely packed with cards. I know now the extension pack and the current reprinting has got even more cards in. Well, it's wonderful. I think any healing journey requires an identification of exactly where you are with your emotions. It requires emotional literacy, no matter where you are in your journey to get towards the place that you want to be. You have to be able to identify how you feel about where you currently are, whether you need to know even whether you want to step away from where you currently are. And I think when you haven't had that ability to feel freely for whatever reason, I mean, whether that be being raised by toxic people where only their feelings are valid and you're punished if you even dare to express a feeling. It's very easy in life for different things to oppress our feelings. I found that I got to like the age of 45 and realised I could only name a very small handful of feelings, like happiness, sadness, anger, and that was kind of it. It was very early on in getting to a better space that I realised emotional literacy was going to be key, and that's when I started working with emotion wheels. This for me does the same thing. It allows me to do a reading and then to pull some emotions around it and to explore those emotions around it. It gives you the vocabulary, which seems so simple, but you'll be surprised. You might be surprised at how these words aren't readily there, like anger or sadness or fear is. But these words are incredibly important too. I think any practice where you're developing emotional literacy and looking at words, emotion words, as part of your healing practice, it opens up so many doors, and it's definitely a practice that I would say, you know, give it a go. This deck is so brilliant for giving it a go. So that's it, guys. That is my top 10 indie decks. Just some amazing, incredible decks to work with. Okay, there were a couple of cheats, I do get that, but you know, I couldn't leave out the bonded pairs, could I? So 12 if you're not letting me have the cheats. 10 if you're letting me have the bonded pairs. Absolutely love them all. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.